Hi, it's Ariel. Here is a short version of the epilepsy and memory connection. There's a link to a webinar by Epilepsy Ontario down below in the description. I recommend that. Then I also got some information off the Epilepsy Foundation and that webinar and kind of put it together about the specifics about memory, that difficulties associated with epilepsy. So there's basically three types of memory that are most commonly affected by epilepsy. And these are your immediate memory, which is very immediate. Short-term memory, which is a memorizing thing. You know, it may be short, but it's different than your immediate memory. And then your procedural memory is actually pretty good. What I was going to say is your prospective memory is the other one that is affected oftentimes by epilepsy. So when you are trying to remember things, you have to first have your immediate memory where you actually get it. So it's called encoding. So that's one thing, you have to actually get the information. A lot of people who have epilepsy for some reason have attention problems and can be distracted. Also, if somebody's going really quickly with the information, if I'm talking too fast, you know, it's like it can be overwhelming after a certain amount of information. The rate at which somebody's giving out the information and can make it hard to encode it. Then once you've actually gotten the memory, that's a big part of it. That immediate memory is one that doesn't always happen. So you do need to get it, then you have to store it. So that's your short-term memory. So once you store it in your short-term memory, that's the first storage, then it's in your long-term memory. But you do have to get it as a memory in your brain. And a lot of people forget more quickly things that happened, and I think it's then harder to get it into your long-term memory. A lot of people have trouble with retrieval, so that's the accessing those memories, because if you don't really make a specific memory and then it really gets stored, then you're not going to be able to access it. Like, you really have to, one of the main problems is actually making the memories. A lot of neurological conditions, that can be a problem. Something that helps is a context. So like something personal, and I don't like to attach everything to something personal, but you know, if you really want to remember something, if you can make it something that has a context to it, or you have some kind of personal connection to it, it can be easier to remember. So that's the immediate to short-term memory that are two of the problematic categories for epilepsy patients. And then the other one would be prospective memory. And I thought that sounds kind of strange because prospective would be future. But it's about remembering to do things. And for me, that is just like awful. For me, I turn on the stove, and then there's a couple things. One is I first forget that I turned on the stove, like immediately. Like I'll look up and I forgot. So that's your immediate memory. Like you have to get it that you're doing something. Then it goes into your short-term memory, so it's like then I tend to not remember that I just turned on the stove and walk away. And then I don't remember to turn it off, which is the prospective memory. So that's kind of setting it in your mind, like to remember to do something. So that's a hard one for me. I realize that's probably one of the biggest ones, is remembering to do something. So meds, oh my gosh. I have alarms on my phone. And I've gotten really into the habit, but it took me years to like have any remembering that, oh, I need to take my meds. It's like it always took alarms and other people sometimes helping me and Medisets, and I do it once a week on a certain day that I get my Mediset ready and I go to the pharmacy and stuff like that. So it's all kinds of things that you can have trouble with. Your prospective memory makes it really hard to get things done or remember to do things. So I thought that's interesting. So that's more about memory and epilepsy.